to the sleuth booth, and I'm not going to make this video too long because I'm using my phone to record and it's not plugged in at the moment, and it's about, well, it's about 30%, so hopefully I should get a decent amount of video length out of it. But anyway, I'm going to be touching on the new news about the Brian Laundrie's autopsy results. I'm going to give you a bit of info on my last video. Obviously we were looking for those two girls that went missing over here in the UK. I've managed to get a little bit of information about one, not much, but we'll touch upon it anyway. So let me just unlock my computer here. So the Brian Laundrie, if anyone's not familiar with the Gabby Petito Brian Laundrie case, Gabby Petito was a girl who was going on a camping trip with her fiance Brian Laundrie. I'm going to break this down as quick as possible for those that don't know. Most of you do know the story. Anyway, somewhere along their journey there was some domestic violence issues. There was a recording of the police cam when they got stopped for domestic violence issues. There's two videos now. There was one, now there's two videos, and the second video unveils stuff you don't hear in the first video. It's really interesting. But anyway, Gabby Petito was later found strangled to death, and basically she'd been strangled to death. They've not proved it's Brian Laundrie. They've not even named him as a suspect. They named him as a person of interest. But what happened is he's obviously come home without Gabby back to Florida, where his parents live. He lives with his parents, and he must have come back without Gabby, gone camping, I think on one or two occasions, something like that, with his parents, without Gabby still. It turns out Gabby had obviously been strangled to death, and she's been left close to where they were camping in, I think it was Wyoming. And then all of a sudden the parents report her missing, because obviously they're not getting through to Gabby. They haven't heard from Gabby for a while, which was unusual. Then the police found Gabby's body, etc. And then Brian goes missing, basically, and there was a hunt for him. They had the money that went into that search must have been unreal. You even had like Dog the Bounty Hunter, John Walsh. It was crazy. It's been a crazy ride. It's been going on for what, at least 2 to 3 months now. I mean, date backs. I think it all started at the end of August, and it just went through. They couldn't find him. Then they find some remains, and first they got his dentist results to say it was him. Lots of people weren't convinced by that. You got one half of the camp that says that, you know, that the dental records was enough to prove that it was his remains, and then the other side of the camp saying no. There was a lot of people think he's still alive, but it came out that the DNA results were his, and they've also got a cause of death, which they're saying is suicide via gunshot. So they said that obviously they searched for firearms in the household, and obviously, you know, the parents have declared what firearms are in the household, and when they went to look for these firearms, one particular gun was missing, and they're now saying that the skull remains, if you like, of Brian Laundrie is indicating that he shot himself, and then obviously later, you know, consumed by wildlife. Let me just, I'm trying to find, guys, is the form, so I can read the form to you, which is the report Right, 1 sec. Right, let's bring this up. Right, so this is what it says. So this is the District 12 Medical Examiner. Press release, November 23rd, 2021. Death of Brian C. Laundrie. The District 12 Medical Examiner's Office has completed our investigation. Why does that sound wrong? Maybe I'm reading it wrong. Into the death of Brian C. Laundrie. The investigation included the following: scene response by medical examiner personnel, complete examination of the recovered skeletal remains, consultation with a forensic odontologist, including dental comparison for identification, consultation with a forensic anthropologist, including skeletal reconstructions, confirmation of the identity of the remains by both dental comparison and DNA analysis. So they obviously compared the DNA as well. The cause of death has been determined to be gunshot wound of the head. Manner of death has been determined to be suicide. So he did it, no one else. I mean, at first I thought to myself, like, if someone was to bump into Brian Laundrie while this was going on and then shot him, no one's gonna, you're not gonna come forward and say, yeah, it was me who shot Brian Laundrie. It's just not gonna happen, because why would you go to prison for somebody you don't know and don't like or whatever? But, I mean, they're saying he shot himself, so but how would... My question to anybody that knows, anybody that's followed this sort of thing before, anybody that has worked in the industry, or you know a bit about the industry of forensics and stuff like that, I can understand how the skull would tell you, oh, you know, there's gun residue, or there's the mark where the exit wound must have been, or the entry wound. I understand all of that. But to me, how does it tell you that it's suicide? That's the bit that baffles me. Because if someone bumped into Brian Laundrie at the time and, you know, they were carrying a weapon and they thought, oh, that's that motherfucker we've been looking for, bang, they're not going to come out and advertise that fact, you know. And maybe they put him there purposely, knowing that all the evidence was going to be destroyed by the wildlife. I mean, I'm just speculating. I'm not trying to jump on a conspiracy train. I've got no issue with this report telling me that, you know, it's Brian Laundrie and he's dead, and we've found evidence that it's a gunshot wound. I just don't understand the part, how would you determine whether that's suicide or not? But complete signed reports will be on file at the District 12 Medical Examiner's Office in accordance with Florida statutes and at the request of the Federal Bureau of Investigations. These reports and other information pertaining to the medical examiner investigation of Mr. Laundrie's death may not be made public or released until law enforcement investigation is complete. So that part there, you know, that's basically saying that, you know, we might not hear anything. We might not hear much or anything at all, or nothing for a long time. And one of the reasons is because obviously the investigation's still open. I mean, it's interesting that the investigation's still open, because initially what we had was a victim deceased, Gabby Petito, and a perpetrator missing, Brian Laundrie. Now we know both the victim and perpetrator are deceased. I mean, I'm hoping that their investigation is just then concluding everything they already know, and they're going to say, I think a lot of people are going to say, yep, they got into a fight, he took it too far, strangled her to death, didn't know what to do, run back home to his parents. This is the bit where I get stuck, you know. What was the story that he gave his parents, or what did his parents know and not know? Were they deceived, or were they part of his plan? You know, why the fuck would you go camping when, you know, your girlfriend's not there? You know she's dead. How much do your parents know? How weird is that? And your sister, I mean, it just seems weird that anyway now they're telling us that Brian shot himself. And they didn't find much of him. Well, it didn't appear that they found much of him. I mean, they wasn't coming out with body bags. They were coming out with bags you could carry by yourself. You know, it's just really, really, really odd. Is that the best that they could come up with? They said, look, at the end of the day, we've got to put something on paper. What's the most likely probability of what happened to him, not the actual fact of what happened to him. What's the likely probability? Well, it was a gunshot wound to head. He more than likely killed himself because of all this shit he's in. It could be that. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I'm fine with all of it, apart from how do you know it's suicide, and then the fact that the investigation's still open. I'm wondering whether are they looking into the parents, because it just seems weird. And I know it was their solicitor that said to them, don't talk to anyone, don't talk at all, like just be silent. And I understand people have that right to be silent, but that usually, to my knowledge, that usually only gets exercised when you have a risk of incriminating yourself. So that's the bit I don't understand. I mean, they've completely zipped up. I mean, I don't know whether... I know they give out statements via the solicitor, which to me, that means nothing to me. Because I think to myself, well, basically, if solicitors wrote something and you've just read it and signed it, and that's it. You haven't said shit. But that's where we are at the moment. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are. Let me know in the comments. Obviously, you know, I don't care what your thoughts are. It's completely free over here. Your opinions, if your opinions get attacked, I will block people who attack others' opinions. I want this to be completely, everyone respect everyone else's thoughts, because it's good to just listen to why people have a different perspective. It's good to look at different perspectives, because you never know, the world surprises us all the time. Nothing can ever be secret on this planet, because we live on a planet where you can expect anything these days. It's wild out there, especially now. The world is wild out there, so anything could come out of this story. We don't know. I've got a feeling that the parents didn't condone what Brian had done, but they didn't want to see their son get the death penalty, so they were kind of torn. And this is why they're sort of, you know, staying silent now, because they know, oh, hang on, even though we feel like we're protecting our son, we've actually done a really bad thing, and we're felons now. So I don't know whether they're in that position, or they could be totally innocent, and they could have just been told, you know, don't speak to the press, don't speak to anyone, blah, 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 blah. And they've probably just followed that and just think everybody turning up outside the door is an arsehole. You don't know. We really don't know. But hopefully we find out soon. I got a feeling not too much is going to come out. This is probably going to be the last little nugget for a while. That's just my feeling. Unless they come out and give us like a full statement of what happened, or release things they've already got that we haven't seen yet. I don't know, but it's still open. By the looks of it, it's still open. And, you know, and both Brian and Gabby are deceased. So I can only think it's got to be people around them that they must be looking into now, or they're just concluding it. I don't know. But anyway, what's your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. And while we're still here, what I wanted to mention is I couldn't find much, nothing on social media really, for Iona. Where did I bring her up from? It was here somewhere. Here we are. So the girl that we was looking for, let me just find it for you. Right, so I was looking, and then I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, I found the report, and it says Lewisham Police urgent appeal to find missing 13-year-old girl from Forest Hill, Noni Channer. So I'm thinking to myself, you know, 13, because obviously when I looked, and I go onto the missing persons website, and it says that she's 15. So I'm thinking, why are they saying she's 13? So I go and find another report. If I bring it up here, on a different website, and this is what it says, right? Police are appealing for help locating a missing girl from Lewisham. Noni Channer, 13, is known to frequent Forest Hill and Honour Oak. If you have seen her or have any information of her whereabouts, please call 999, quoting CAD number 3983, 14th of August 19. That was the bit that made me think, because I'm sitting there thinking the one that I looked at was on the, was it the 21st? I believe it was on the 21st she went missing of this year. So then I realised, hang on, the report that I've got says that she's 15 and she went missing on the 21st of this month. And this one says that she went missing in August 2019, which she would have been 13. So she's been missing before. See, it still doesn't tell us much more than that. This is the only problem that I'm hitting. You're only getting a bit, and I know it's because they're young. It could be that she may be a child in care, and quite often what happens is a child in care will have a curfew, and if they decide to stay at a friend's without, you know, consent of a social worker, like a social worker will, you know, check out that friend and what address and phone number and make sure that it's a safe place, and then you might get consent that way. But most young people don't want to do that to their friends, or their friends, they really might be like bad people. So what they do is they just stay there anyway, and then the childcare service that's in charge of their care and support is then required to report that to police. The police missing persons make a missing persons report to the police, and then you have to notify like the emergency team. You know, you call them up, you give them the number that the police give you, and then you only call back when they return. And obviously this happens a lot. You know, it does happen a lot. I mean, we had when I worked I used to be deputy manager of a 16 plus home. So we had 16 to 18 year olds in our care, and one person decided to go and have a 5-day holiday in Brighton. Actually spent 5 days in Brighton, completely unannounced, completely, you know, unconsented. It just didn't see him for 5 days, so the police were looking for him around Luton and surrounding Luton for 5 days, and then he just showed back up. He'd been on holiday. It was just, but I'm not saying this is what's happened. I'm just saying this is a common occurrence, and I'm wondering the reason why we're only getting a small piece of information and nothing else is because that person's they're protected. You know, their children are protected by child services. So data protection is massive. It's huge in the care industry. So that they might be just saying, look, this is all you need to know. You know, have you seen her? That's all we want to know. So it's still good to look at this website, guys. Again, I'll leave the link in every one of mine, and the more sites like this that I find, I will leave links to them as well. So those missing websites I'll leave there. So that's what we know so far about Noni Channer. I've still not found anything new on Iona, the other lady we was looking for. Let me just scroll through here to see what we had from the last video, and I believe we had the missing report for Iona, because I couldn't actually find them today on the website. I did this morning, but when just now I couldn't find. So let me just quickly find. Okay, this is close to where we was. Iona Golubeck. So this is the next person that I need to dig into as well. So I'm going to continue with the two of these and let you know where we get on. As for Summer Wells, I've been digging more further into that, and I'm going to wait until my next video to give you more on Summer Wells, because I think I would have, you know, caught up a little bit more and then be able to make, you know, sort of have a little bit more of a speculate at what's going on and what I think is going on and what you guys think is going on as well. So until next time, you've been in the Sleuth Booth.